Hello, guys. Welcome back to another video with On Point Politics. And today I'm starting a little mini series for the election called The State of the Race with On Point Politics. This is episode 1 of that show. So hit the like button. Everybody that's in here right now, if you're joining in here, make sure to hit the like button. And if you're on X, make sure to engage in the chat. Make sure to share this with all your friends because I am going to go on for about 45 minutes. And we are going to talk about the presidential election today and what we are standing at right now in the Electoral College and certain polling and certain events that are supposed to occur fairly soon. So, looking at this now, Donald Trump is the favorite to win the 2024 presidential election. He is the clear favorite to win. We just had Richard Barris on literally just earlier, a couple hours ago on the channel. We just had him on. And we were going over, some polling, his thoughts on the race. And he says that he thinks Donald Trump is probably going to win, that it's probably going to end up being anywhere from Harris +1 to Trump +2 in the popular vote. That's kind of what his range was. And so when you think about that, it really signals his confidence in a Trump win. And what's very fascinating is his Michigan poll that came out today, or at least came out on locals, which I can see, is a Trump plus 3.6 percentage point lead, guys. He leads by 3.7% in the battleground state of Michigan. And my forecast in Michigan is actually a Trump plus around 5.2 percentage point win. So that's kind of where we're at with that right now. The thing is, Rasmussen Reports kind of came out with a new demographic model. And because of that, since they basically came out with the new poll and the demographic model kind of got updated, we had to update a part of the model. And so now that was applied, Minnesota actually now flips in our latest map, and Maine and New Hampshire are pretty close now. All of the swing states that are traditionally very competitive are all likely Republican states as of right now. And when looking at this map, guys, this is not looking good for Kamala Harris whatsoever, because you had an election last cycle where Joe Biden narrowly eked it out by 4.5 points in the national popular vote. And it's not looking good for Kamala Harris at all. It is not looking great for her. We can look up the New York Times polling. Actually, you know what? Let's go to the voter analysis for 2020. We'll look at the Fox News voter analysis for this. And so when we go over here and look at the voter analysis for the election, this is what's very interesting that people don't seem to see, and how easy it is for Trump to actually win the next election. By the way, I see that there's about 71 of you guys in here in the chat as of right now. If you are in here, hit the like button, guys. Make sure to hit the like button because it does help out with the show quite a bit. And I want to get this show on the road as much as possible until election day. So if you're on X, make sure to share this with your friends. And if you're on YouTube, make sure to hit the like button. Even if you don't have an account, make an account, sign up, and go ahead and hit the like button. It would be greatly, greatly appreciated. And so now looking at this voter, analysis, right, we can see that Donald Trump here won whites by roughly, give or take, he won whites by about 12. You could see African Americans. We saw right about there, he lost them by about 80-something points, around 80-something points. We see here that Joe Biden won Hispanics almost by it's around a 28-point margin with Hispanics. And others is roughly around, and this includes Asians too, is about a 19-point victory for Biden. And so there was a big momentum shift towards Donald Trump. There was a huge momentum surge for Donald Trump heading into the cycle right now, which is very, very fascinating, guys. Right now in this cycle, he is really, really hitting it home. Guys, make sure to hit the like button right now. Would be greatly, greatly appreciated if you guys would be able to hit the like button. That would be greatly, greatly appreciated. I see everybody in the chats in here. Everyone's very, very excited for the stream, guys. But if you are in here, please do not ghost watch the stream. Make sure to hit the like button. We will see here, Lester the pollster GOAT. Thank you very much. Trump Vance 2024. The fact you think that Trump wins the popular vote, think is going to win the popular vote, tells me everything I need to know about the quality of your analysis. Well, if you're saying that in a bad way, I mean, with all the accurate pollsters, he's winning the popular vote with all of them. Black men for Trump. Always like you. Thank you very much, Vegas. Very appreciate that. Trump will be the president since Florence Roberts, and Tom Fear says Trump with exclamation marks. So, guys, again, if you are watching the stream, hit the like button. It's very important that you guys hit the like button because it does help the stream quite a bit when that happens. So if you guys can hit the like button and not just ghost watch the stream, would be greatly appreciated. Women voters are going to crush this election. They will vote in larger numbers than men, and they are breaking for Kamala at almost 30 in every age range. Well, let me tell you something. That's not going to happen because the Democrat has not won the women vote by 30 points. I don't think ever. They've never won the vote like that by 30 points, like ever. They've never gotten even close to that. I could say maybe in an election, maybe a group, maybe a president won the women vote by like maybe 15 in either direction, but it's never been that lopsided. That's the thing that people get misconstrued about. It's never been that lopsided ever. 26 thumbs up. Guys, let's make sure to get the likes up on the stream, please. It would be greatly appreciated. And on X as well. If you guys are watching on X, which I know that there is a decent amount of you watching on X right now, if you guys could share this with everybody, it would be greatly appreciated as well. So that would definitely be really, really cool. If you guys can go ahead and also, share this, repost it. If you are watching live on X, I see a couple of you are there. And if you guys can get the likes up on YouTube, it would be greatly appreciated. And anybody that's a moderator in the chat, make sure to go ahead and remind everybody in the chat to hit the like button and subscribe. In a Trump best case scenario, how does he pick off Minnesota, New Hampshire, Virginia, and Maine at large? He'd have to be doing pretty good with the white vote. And I don't really think that would happen exactly right now. But if things keep trending in his direction, it is possible we are going to end up in that territory. How do you get the numbers for the models for the election? Okay, so the way I get those is very simple. So the way I get those numbers is I basically do a demographic model, which is the second column, and it gets all the accurate voter crosstabs, all the accurate pollster crosstabs. You average them out, you get certain demographic margins. Then you look at the aggregated state polls, which my averages weigh by party ID to correct the error in the states. Then on top of that, we also go ahead, for example, in a place like, looking at the national level, we track the trend from the past 5 cycles. We apply that trend to the 2020 numbers. Then we have estimated 2024 NPV numbers, and we apply our national aggregate to that. And that's how we get the current prediction that we have right now. Samuel J for 5 says, can you discuss the House of Representatives? It's not really brought up much. I'll go ahead and do that later on during this stream. I may not go for super duper long, so make sure to go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe. But I will probably touch the House of Representatives in this video. Do you think Trump will win in Nevada and Arizona? I think he's carrying those pretty comfortably right now. All the early returns so far look very impressive. I mean, the early vote Republicans, as of today, it could change because it's very early, but as of today, Republicans are actually up in the state of Arizona in the early vote. And not only that, they're up in Maricopa County by 16 points in the early vote. Democrats were up by about 4 points in the early vote in Maricopa. So that's really big news. If that's going to end up being the case, that would be huge news if that ends up being the case. Guys, if you are in here, make sure to hit the like button to subscribe. Would be greatly, greatly appreciated. And so looking at this voter analysis, right, Donald Trump is going to improve with his white vote share. He will most likely improve with African Americans. He will most likely improve with Hispanics and Asian/others. So in that scenario, when it's very evident that all voter groups are going to move to the right, Harris basically doesn't have a path to win because she would need to at least move one demographic to the left, at least one. And we can look at that. But I'm going to tell you right now, it's not looking great for her because when you look at the groups that she'd have to be doing better with, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the swingometer because right now, she would still do worse with non-college whites. She's still going to do worse with them, which already gives Trump the win pretty easily, actually, even like in a sort of semi-competitive environment. So she'd have to improve on Biden's margin with college-educated voters. She'd have to basically not hemorrhage with African Americans. Maybe Trump gets about 13 or 12. So let's say in a best case scenario for her, she's getting like maybe 85 and he's getting like 15%. That still gives Trump the electoral college here, except for Nevada. Then with Hispanics, she's still going to hemorrhage support with them. And it looks like maybe a 20-point win for them right now for her would be in her best case scenario cards. And the Asian slash others seems like it's still going to move Republican. So even with that moving Republican, you have a problem because she'd also have to basically move. She'd have to move non-college. She had to move college whites in her direction, roughly give or take by, let's see what it basically gives me here. She'd basically have to move. She'd essentially have to move the college educated vote by a pretty decent amount. She'd have to gain like 8 or 9 points on net with college educated voters in order to basically hold on to the election very narrowly, where Wisconsin goes red, Georgia barely goes Republican, and Nevada's barely going Republican, and North Carolina's like a similar margin. Michigan's till, or Pennsylvania's till, and Arizona's also till too. Like they're very close. They could go either way. And Florida's only a 3-point win for Donald Trump. So you're telling me that Trump is only going to win the state of Florida by 3 points? I mean, that's absolutely ridiculous, guys. There is no scenario right now where Donald Trump is winning the state of Florida by less than what he won it by last time. We are not in that environment. Dwight Wickham says, we already voted, solid red ticket, Washington State. I'm ready to vote on the 18th in Washington. Let's flip the district that has Joe Kent. We can see here. Let's hope Republicans get the House and the Senate, just in case Trump, which I hope doesn't happen, a GOP-ruled House and Senate is our safety net 100%. Why are Republican Senate candidates running 5 to 10 points behind? The only seats that are doing well are in Montana, West Virginia. Well, the reason why that's happening is because the polling always sucks for the Senate races. They're always really bad. Now, is the disparity really bad this time? Yes, it is pretty bad. I do expect, the Senate candidates to underperform by a pretty decent amount, but not by as much as people think they are. They're not going to underperform to the extent that they would have in a traditional environment. I don't think that it's going to be 2022 bad. I actually think that more than likely Eric Hovde is on track to win his race by a couple points. I think Carrie Lake, people give me crap for it, but I think she's on track to win right now. Nevada, on the other hand, Sam Brown is just completely drained out of his money. The top of the ticket, most of the time, the race always tends to vote more Democrat compared to the top of the ticket. And so I think Nevada may be a lost cause for Sam Brown, and they're basically drawing his money up completely. I think that right now, Michigan and Pennsylvania, my Senate model, they're tied practically. The Democrats barely winning them in both elections. They could easily flip Republican. And so it's not hard to basically digest the fact that you could end up seeing a pretty decent win in the Senate you could see a decent win in the Senate for Republicans, but they are going to have to do their job. And we'll see how the voter models hold up, because it just kind of tracks like how it basically, the way the model works is it looks at historical voting patterns between the presidential level and the Senate level. I have my own model for the Senate. The presidential results are incorporated. And so when we look at some voter models, we can see how likely certain voters are to vote for president, but not for Senate. And based on that, I have Senate election forecast. And so that's why the Senate is roughly about 54 to 46 Republican. So Republicans are going to outperform compared to expectations and could win as much as 56 if Mike Rogers and in Pennsylvania, McCormick do narrowly carry it out. And Bob Case is only up by 0.2%. Like any underperformance in the polling coming up, and he's down. He's down in the race. What is that BS map you have up? Delete this right now. This is not my official map. This is like what I was showing, what Kamala Harris would have to be doing in order to like narrowly win the election. Trump can win Virginia. I mean, that's 100% true as well. I mean, it's possible. But whoever wrote this comment, this is not my official map. I was showing like how ridiculous it is for Harris to win, because she'd have to basically run it up with she'd have to run it up with college whites and perform as well as Joe Biden did with like 2020 whites too, like with 2020 non-college whites. So that's kind of her problem, because she's going to struggle with certain demographics. And you see, look at that college educated. Once that moves, I mean, it's just so, look at that. She's winning the popular vote by almost 3. Nevada and Arizona are tilt Republican. Georgia's already gone. North Carolina's already gone. And Pennsylvania and Wisconsin, I mean, they're nail biters. So her path, her only viable path is the 270 map, or you could say it's the 271 map with Arizona, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. But I'd say that the blue wall map is more realistic in her chances of winning, and that doesn't even look likely either. I mean, it just doesn't. It does not look likely at all based on what we're seeing in the accurate, pollster crosstabs. It's just not what we're seeing at all. And so there is a big problem for her headed into the election. Since every single demographic group is going to shift Republican, she really doesn't have a path. If the Democrat was improving with African Americans or Hispanics or with white non-college or with white college, I would say, okay, this is going to be a big part of the electorate. It's going to make the race competitive. But Harris is basically underperforming with every single demographic, and it's going to be a big problem. We see here, does it annoy you when people call Rasmussen a right-wing pollster, but the New York Times is a highly rated pollster? Rasmussen's way more accurate than they were in 2020. Yeah, it's true. It's unfortunate, but accurate people get labeled as right-wing conspiracy pollsters, and then they just end up getting disregarded, even though really they should have the accolades for being the high-quality pollsters. And if my election forecast is correct, this is something that I want to fix. I want to have, if my forecast ends up being correct, I want to open up a world in the polling industry and of political media where we have honest rankings for all of the pollsters. We have honest views on certain topics. We have an open discussion, and none of this, oh, you're a low quality pollster, even though you were way more accurate. So it's kind of funny. And I'm very curious to see the reaction if my forecast ends up being correct, because I guarantee you Nate Silver is going to be calling me a far right, low quality, election modeler if I get it 100% or even 95% correct. So right now, things are not looking good for Kamala Harris. Let's see. World is a vampire, says high turnout in Georgia has got me worried. Well, I actually think that the high turnout this cycle is actually better for Republicans, just because of the fact that right now the Democrats are the party of high propensity voters now. They're always going to turn out. The people that aren't always going to turn out are actually the low propensity voters that voted for Trump in 2016 and 2020. And Republicans are going to have a really hard time in off years, and even so much so in later elections, depending on who they nominate. And a lot of those people were the same people that voted for Obama that were screened out of the polls in 2012 when Obama was tied in the popular vote with Mitt Romney, which would have been an electoral college win for Romney, by the way. It could have been really close, or it could have been an electoral college win. And so now we are looking at an electoral environment where Donald Trump's improving with every single demographic. We see the world is a vampire for 5. Thank you very much. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. If you guys want to send a super chat, that would also be very greatly appreciated as well. I will be announcing these streams a little bit more in advance. I know this was like very last minute, and it's relatively early, actually. That's probably why there's barely anybody on right now. But we do see that right now Donald Trump is improving with every single demographic imaginable. He's literally improving with all the demographics. Right now, between white voters, he's gaining a couple points with non-college. Right now, he's gaining a couple points with the college-educated votes. He's only losing them by about 3 points. African Americans, he's at around he's looking at like 21% right now. I believe so. I think he's at around 21. I think so. Hispanics, he's kind of closing in on the roughly give or take. He's closing in on the decent margin there. He's only losing them by about 14 or 13. And Asian slash other, he's down just a couple points with them, which does give Virginia the election to Trump. So Trump does win it. But when you kind of adjust the electorate here and you kind of match it to what I have on my end, you do actually notice very quickly that Trump would not win Virginia and that it would actually end up being roughly around the tilt margin for Harris. But that's still not a great sign for her. So he's winning. He's actually winning 323 based on the most accurate forecasters or most accurate election pollsters. When you look at their crosstabs, this is what they show right now. And what I think is very interesting is that you see that states like New Mexico are within 3. Illinois is only an 8-point win. Oregon's an 8-point win. New Jersey's just 6.5. New York 13. New Hampshire's tilt blue. Virginia's tilt blue. Minnesota's tilt red. All of the Rust Belt states, they're gone. North Carolina, Georgia, those are gone. Ohio is a 15-point race. Iowa, a 14-point race. So that is very, very interesting. Looking at this, we see here a speedrunner. It says, when will you do more LTE reaction / debunking? I enjoy those. I think I might hold off until after the election. I want to see how well I do in my forecast. If my forecast is pretty decent, I'll go ahead and do more disparaging analysis. So that would be pretty interesting. I've been talking to random people about the election over the past year. Most people told me they're voting for Trump here in Clark County. I mean, yeah, Clark County's going to have a big swing to the right. I think it is. Could Texas go blue in this decade with the big influx from California and other blue states? Well, what's actually quite funny is that they've done polling on this, especially Rasmussen. A lot of the transplants actually happen to break Republican. So if anything, the transplants are actually making the state more Republican again. So that is very interesting. If Trump flips Minnesota, does it become a battleground? Here's my hot take. If Trump flips Minnesota, it will not be a battleground. He's going to flip it very narrowly because we are in a very GOP favorable environment that most Republicans wouldn't be able to create. And so in reality, I do actually think that it wouldn't become a swing state at all. Kamala Harris is not a legitimate candidate. Yep, that is true. What will you do if your forecast is wrong and Kamala wins? Well, if that happens, I'll come on here and say why I was wrong. I'll figure out why I was wrong and we'll improve from there. I mean, I'm not going to stop creating content because I get the election wrong. I'm starting to feel confident in my forecast, and I may actually end up doing a video where I declare who I think is going to win the election with like 100% certainty within the next week or so, because I am getting very confident about Trump winning the election. I mean, looking at the Gallup indicators, looking at the way he's polling way better, the fact that every demographic swinging Republican on average, even in the demographic crosstabs with the most accurate pollsters. So every single way you look at it, he's gaining everywhere with his favorability he's been gaining. And so it's kind of like, it's very interesting. I think that I may do a video where like I officially say, oh, Donald Trump's going to win the election. I'm basically going to pick the winner at some point. By what time does Texas become a swing state? New York, Illinois, New Jersey will become swing states. I don't know about that. Texas, you see, the problem is the Democrats right now are not doing well enough with non-college educated voters, and they really need to reform themselves economically in order to make that state competitive. So it may be 10, 20 more years until it's even more competitive, but that doesn't even guarantee to go blue either. And also New York, Illinois, New Jersey, that's I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think they're going to be swing states even soon. I think they're going to be swing states in a really long time. And if they do flip, they're going to be one-time flukes. I really can't see them becoming swing states. You do your research, you accept the results, and even if nothing of significance was found, and if so, you explain why. That's what good researchers does. I mean, yeah. Let's see here. Do you think the New York City's next mayor will be Republican? I haven't seen any polling, but if I had to guess, I would say no. I think it's going to probably end up being a Republican. So, or a Democrat, excuse me. I think it's going to end up being a Democrat that ends up being the candidate for that race. And so, yeah, guys, I'm I'm feeling confident about Trump winning the race. I think I really am feeling very confident about him winning the election. We do got some more stuff planned. I have collaborations coming up with State of Daniel, with Depressed Ginger. You guys may know who that is. So we are going to be doing collabs with him soon. A collab with as well Election Time will probably happen at some point fairly soon as well. So I will try to do more collaborations. Maybe we have a couple guests back on from before. So, and then we have something coming out next week, which will be very interesting. You guys will definitely be wanting to watch that one. You guys will definitely want to watch that one. I'll be posting clips of it because it's not going to be uploaded here. It'll be uploaded somewhere else. So that's what we're looking at right now. But yep, it's not going to be uploaded here. It's going to be somewhere else. And you guys are going to see what it is. And when you guys see it, your minds are going to be blown. You guys are going to be like, what in the world is going on? It's going to be absolutely insane. I'm very excited about it because it's going to speak very highly of the polling industry. Trust me, guys, you're not going to want to miss it at all. So when the time comes, when I can announce it, I will go ahead and do that as of right now. But I can't really do that. I am a GOP precinct committeeman in Illinois. We are working on massive grassroots operations to flip Illinois by 2030. It's technically possible, but it would be a really hard stretch. Model state politics. Why does your model have Mark Robinson winning? Well, actually, I could update it right now. I could literally update it right now and see what it has it doing. Because chances are he probably isn't winning anymore. Let's see. Because let's see what he's doing. Because usually the governor candidate, the Republican pulls 5 points behind or pulls 5 points behind the Republican. Usually the Republican governor candidate tends to pull 5 points behind the presidential candidate. That's what I meant to say. But what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to look at that. I'm actually going to go check and see what happens when I look at the model now, because chances are he probably isn't winning anymore. Albeit it is going to be a lot closer than what people say. It's not going to be a 17-point blowout. I hate it when people say that. It's not going to be a 17-point blowout or even a 10-point blowout. In my opinion, I don't think it is, at least. So I think it's almost it's a little bit facetious to kind of insinuate something like that. So we're going to go ahead and plug this in really quick and see what ends up happening. Okay, so what ends up happening now is when we look at the governor's races now, Indiana is safe. Missouri, Montana, those are safe. New Hampshire's a 13-point win for Kelly Ayotte. Phil Scott's only winning by 10. Washington is an 8-point race right now. And if we look at the polling here in North Carolina, we can kind of go ahead and look at that. Mark, we could see North Carolina governor. Do they not have it on RCP? Okay, they do have it here. Alrighty then. So when we plug this into the model, basically Stein wins by 3 points. So Stein will win by about 3. And Trump's going to win the state by about like 7.5. So there's going to be a huge disparity. So yeah, you're right. Now that I updated the model, Stein probably will win by about 3 points. That's what we're looking at right now. I don't think he's going to win by 17 because that doesn't happen. But I do think Stein will win by about 3. The forecast has about a 2.9 percentage point margin. And as for the House, based on where we're heading at and the fact that the House tends to outperform Donald Trump a lot of the times in the national popular vote, we could see a 237 map for Republicans in the House. Somewhere in the range of 230 to 240 House seats is what I'm kind of looking at right now. But that's basically it for this episode, guys. If you guys did enjoy this, make sure to go ahead and hit the like button and to subscribe. I will be doing, at least I'll be announcing these in advance, a little bit more in advance. So you guys have a great rest of your day. Make sure to hit the like button and to subscribe. Oh, let's see. Local Enterprise Broadcasting before we leave for 10 says, I really want to believe your models after everything that's happened. 3 attempts, lawfare, trying to hold them and get them off the ballot. Do you really think they're going to count the votes accurately? Well, the problem is they really can't. They don't have the ballots to commit the fraud like they did last time because they don't have as many ballot requests. So, all right, guys, I'm going to be heading out now. I will see you guys in the next live stream, in the next video. We will be seeing you guys very, very soon. Wow, that was perfect.